Good morning. It is now 11:01. We apologize for being 1 minute late. We'll make it up, as they say. My pilot last night on the way back from New York said, "We'll make it up." I said, "Okay, you make it up while I wake up." My name is Milton Thompson. I'd like to call to order our Gaming Commission meeting here on September 26, 2024. And we're going to call our roll call, our new Executive Director, Dennis Mullen.
My pleasure. Chairman Thompson.
I'm here.
Commissioner Hill.
Here.
Commissioner Houseman.
Here.
Commissioner Williams.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. We have a quorum established, and with that, I'd like to see if we consider approval of the minutes. And the commissioners, have you reviewed the minutes from June 20th, 2024? And are there any additions or corrections? Is there a motion to consider and approve them?
I'd make that motion to approve.
For a second.
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second to approve the minutes. Hearing no other comments or discussion, all those in favor signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Guys have it. Mullen, we'd like to have a report of the Executive Director.
My pleasure, Chair. I'll take the obvious one first, since we're missing that's usually here. I want to take a moment to acknowledge and thank former Executive Director Greg Small for his contributions to the IGC and the state. His accomplishments are too many to name, but to name it, during his tenure with the commission, he was an integral part of creating the framework that allowed casinos to move inland, the successful launches of paid fantasy sports and sports wagering, of which the state of Indiana was a first mover. And as executive director, he oversaw the first competitive casino license grant in over a decade, leading to the opening of the state's 13th casino, the Terre Haute Casino and Resort. In addition, he made sure that the IGC has the internal system in place to be able to be successful in fulfilling its mission well into the future. We thank Greg for his service, and we wish him all the best in his new role. Next, I want to also recognize Commissioner Jason Dudich for his time serving on the commission. Commissioner Dudich has informed us that based upon his July 1st appointment of Vice President of Finance and Administration and CFO for Indiana University, that he needed to step down from his role as commissioner. Jason served as a commissioner for 5 years and always contributed meaningfully to the Gaming Commission and the state during his tenure. I speak for both commissioners and staff and likely the state as a whole in thanking Jason for his service, and we wish him the best of luck in his future endeavors as well.
I had fine experiences with both those men. Spent time with Greg in our former lives. He was an attorney and has also served on the board of directors of the baseball organization that I founded here in Indiana, now called RBI of Indiana, Reviving Baseball in the Inner Cities. But he was on that board of directors, and we later spent some time in his law firm that advised our Indianapolis Indians, of which I'm also a board of directors. So Greg and I go way back. So when we got together here, we spent a considerable amount of time talking about those old good times, as well as a lot of legal issues that are germane and relate to here. I also go back with Commissioner Dudich when he was serving as a deputy mayor in the city of Indianapolis, and spent time there consulting with them and some of the best practices that he'd created. Spent time with our lottery commission, and he was also an advisor for me on some of the financial matters that kind of pertain to that. So I've had fond memories of both of those men, and I wanted to also make publicly known that I want to thank them for their continued service. At the same time, I want to welcome Dennis. As you guys know, Dennis has been serving in the role of general counsel for this august organization. And has a good job, and is probably as experienced as anyone who's ever sat in this chair. As he was serving as general counsel, we would have regular conversations, not only with Greg and with our deputy director, Jen. We would spend a lot of time going through the fundamentals and the foundations of what really has made the sports gambling piece and a nice addition. Dennis was the architect of that. So I said, let's go to lunch and you tell me a little bit more about it. And from that led to my suggestion to Greg and the rest of the staff is that we have a prominent part of the agency speak publicly. And we've had that for the last year about my tenure, and I've learned a lot, and I think the public has learned a lot for us in terms of full transparency. And we're going to do that later on in this meeting here with their integrity division. So I want to thank you and welcome you, Dennis. Now, would you take time to finish your report?
Yes.
Or would you
I'd
take
be
time
happy
to
to.
read
Yes.
the roll?
And thank you
Yeah,
for the kind words. We appreciate it very much. Next, I want to acknowledge our new hires. And if you don't mind, please standing as I announce you. First, I want to welcome two hires in our charity gaming division. Megan Maytai is a clerical assistant. Welcome, Megan. Covering the reception desk at the IGC office. Along with being receptionist, Megan will be assisting the charity gaming division with administrative duties. Megan is a recent graduate of Indiana State University, where she earned a Bachelor of Fine Arts with a minor in Business Administration. Along with being a talented artist, while in school, she was the Vice President of Foundation and Community Service for Delta Gamma Fraternity. Active with that organization. Next, we have Carla Mascari, excuse me, thank you, is also a clerical assistant covering the receptionist desk. Along with her other duties, Carla will be assisting other divisions with administrative duties as needed. Carla has several years of experience in customer service and administration. Carla is new to state government, welcome, and is looking forward to settling in and then completing her bachelor's degree at Indiana. Our compliance division, Thomas Biddle is an assistant director. Thomas in attendance today. Thomas is a recent graduate from Huntington University with a bachelor's degree in sports management as well as a master's of business administration. Annapolis area a little under a year ago and is loving it so far. He's excited to step into his new role with the IGC to see how he can make an impact and contribute to building on a great work environment here. Melanie Habig recently started with the IGC's IT department. Hi, Melanie. Melanie started with the state in 2017 with the Department of Workforce Development, then transferring to INDOT and then to the IGC in August as a senior application system analyst. Her expertise is in SharePoint and the Power Platform. She enjoys spending time outdoors with her husband and two toy schnauzers. And finally, we have Sydney Moody. Sydney is a student extern joining our legal division. Sydney is from New Carlisle, Indiana, and went to Purdue University for her undergraduate degree where she majored in political science and law and society. She decided to pursue a legal career after interning at the Indiana House of Representatives and a local public affairs group. She is currently in her second year at the IU McKinney School of Law, and she decided to join the IGC to merge her passion for public policy with her interest in gaming regulation. As for reinvestigations, our investigations division has completed reinvestigations for licensees BetMGM, Novomatic, and Galaxy Gaming. The confidential reports are in your materials. Directors Leak and Brown are present should you have any questions. March business meeting, commission staff has added 19 individuals to the exclusion list. Now totals 1,072 individuals. Waivers, the IGC has granted 12 waivers, to the. This information is included with your commission packet and will also be posted on the commission's website. Finally, I wanted to bring a couple items on our agenda to your attention. Items. First, we'll have for presentation today our rules packet and per compliance of House Enrolled Act 1623. Staff has successfully completed these rule packets and above and beyond what is required in the law regarding these packets. We had back and dialogue related. Once we commence packages, we only received one comment. How well these rules have been put together and the input that. Next, I wanted to note to commissioners regarding disciplinary actions today. You'll notice we have an abbreviated disciplinary report on today's agenda. And this was a decision made in order to best manage personnel issues with multiple staff on leave. Staff will include Q3 disciplinary actions for presentation at our December.
Thank you, Mr. Executive Director. Now would you proceed with the oath for those who will be presenting? Would you please stand today?
Yes. All right, repeat after me, please, if you plan on presenting today. I state your name. Hereby solemnly swear, subject to the penalties of perjury, tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioners, any old business today for us? Hearing no old business, no old business. On to new business. Any new business? That's what I like. No old business, no new business. I mean, we have no business at all. No. But we do have license renewals, which will be first up here. Attorney Neal, would you present orders 2024-109 through 115? Morning.
Executive staff. First, you have before you order 2024-109. Pursuant to Indiana Code Section 4-33-7-8 and 68 IAC Section 2-2-8, a supplier's license must be renewed each year along with payment of a $7,500 renewal fee. Each of the following licensees has submitted a timely request for renewal along with the required payment. That includes GeoComply Solutions Incorporated, Gaming Partners International USA Incorporated, Aces Up Gaming Incorporated, EDF Compliance LLC, doing business as Odds On Compliance, Every Games Incorporated, GLP Capital LP, Galaxy Gaming, NYX Digital, Global Surveillance Associates, and AGS LLC. Approving order 2024-109 would have the effect of renewing the license of each of the respective licensees for a period. And next on the agenda, you have before you orders 2024-110, 2024-111, and 2024-112 regarding the renewal of Blue Chip, Rising Star, and Belterra's casino, respectively. Blue Chip, Rising Star, and Belterra have all filed the proper paperwork and paid the renewal fee. Previously, by orders 2023-114, 2023-115, and 2023-164, the Commission had approved the written power of attorney for Blue Chip, Rising Star, and Belterra, respectively. These approvals expire upon the renewal of a casino owner's license, and for that reason, all casinos must request renewal of the Commission's approval of the written power of attorney concurrently with the request for renewal, or present the Commission with a new written power of attorney, naming a new trustee in waiting. Blue Chip, Rising Star, and Belterra have all stated their intent to maintain their existing trustees in waiting and have not presented the Commission with any modifications. Approving orders 2024-110, 2024-111, and 2024-112 would have the effect of renewing the license and approving the power of attorney for Blue Chip, Rising Star, and Belterra, respectively, for a period of 1 year. And next, you have before you order 2024-113. Pursuant to Indiana Code Section 4-38-8-1, a certificate of authority must be renewed each year along with the payment of a $50,000 renewal fee. Each of the following certificate holders has submitted a timely request for renewal along with the required payment. Maristar Casino East Chicago LLC, Centaur Acquisition LLC, doing business as Horseshoe Indianapolis, Indiana Gaming Company LLC, doing business as Hollywood, Hoosier Park LLC, doing business as Caesar Race and Sportsbook Indianapolis, Horseshoe Hammond LLC, Blue Chip Casino LLC, Blue Sky Casino LLC, doing business as French Lake Resort, Belterra Resort Indiana LLC, Astar Indiana Gaming Company LLC, doing business as Bally's Evansville, CSI Operating Company LLC, doing business as Caesars Southern Indiana, Centaur Acquisition LLC, doing business as Caesars Race and Sportsbook Clarksville, Hoosier Park LLC doing business as Harris Hoosier Park, Hoosier Park LLC doing business as Caesars Race and Sportsbook New Haven, and CDITH LLC doing business as Terre Haute Casino Resort. Approving order 2024-113 would have the effect of renewing the certificates of the respective licensees for a period of one. Now you have before you order 2024-114 pursuant to Indiana Code Section 4-38-6-6. A vendor's license must be renewed each year along with the payment of $50,000 renewal fee. Each of the following licensees has submitted a timely request for renewal along with their required payment. American Wagering Incorporated doing business as Caesars Sportsbook, the vendor for Hoosier Park. Betfair Interactive US doing business as FanDuel for Blue Chip. Betfair Interactive US doing business as FanDuel for Belterra. Crown Indiana Gaming LLC doing business as DraftKings for Ameristar. Rush Street Interactive LP doing business as Bet Rivers for French Lick. American Wagering Incorporated doing business as Caesars Sportsbook for Horseshoe Hammond. And American Wagering Incorporated doing business as Caesars Sportsbook for Caesars Southern. Approving order 2024-114 would have the effect of renewing the license of each of the respective licensees for a period of 1 year. And finally, you have before you order 2024-115 pursuant to Indiana Code Section 4-33-24-15 and 68 IAC Section 26-3-10. A paid fantasy sports operator license must be renewed each year along with the payment of a $5,000 renewal fee. The following licensees have submitted a timely request for renewal along with that required payment. Side Prize LLC doing business as Prize Picks, Sports Hub Regulatory LLC, Yahoo Fantasy Sports LLC, and approving order 2024-115 would have the effect of renewing the license of each of the respective licensees for a period.
Questions for Mr. Neal, commissioners? And is there a motion on orders 2024-109 through 2024-115?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
Motion second, any discussion? And all those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye, please.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, the motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Neal. Now we're going to have Director of Background Investigations, Garth Brown, will present orders 2024-116 through 118. Morning.
Good morning. I like these morning meetings.
There you go.
Thank you.
See if we can finish by the morning.
Well, good morning, Commissioners, executive staff. You have before you 3 orders, 2024-116, 2024-117, and 2024-118, all of which reference granting permanent licenses to 3 different gaming entities. Order 2024-116 would grant a permanent supplier's license to Score Media and Gaming, which provides its online sports betting services to licensees to facilitate online sports wagering operations. 2024-117 would grant a permanent sports wagering vendor license to Bet365, finding it suitable to offer its online sports wagering services in Indiana. 2024-118 would grant a permanent certificate of authority to CDITH LLC, doing business as Terre Haute Casino Resort, allowing it to offer sports wagerings to its patrons. Commission staff conducted background and financial investigations on each of these applicants, along with substantial owners and key persons as necessary. Commission staff found no material derogatory information that would affect the suitability of any of the applicants. Staff's final reports are included in your confidential commission meeting documents for your review. Approving orders 2024-116 through 2024-118 would grant permanent licenses for the previously mentioned applicants. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions, Commissioners, for Mr. Brown? Hearing none, is there a motion on orders 2024-116 through 118? Second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion state aye, please.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Brown. Assistant Director of Sports Wagering, Leah Foster, she'll now present order 2024 through 119. Morning.
Good morning, Commissioner. Good morning, executive staff. You have before you order 2024-119, granting a permanent paid fantasy sports operator license to Underdog Sports LLC. The applicant has submitted the required application and fees. Commission staff conducted a background and financial investigation on Underdog and found no derogatory information that would affect suitability Staff's final report is included in the confidential packet that was provided to you. Approving Order 2024-119 will grant a permanent paid fantasy sports operator license to Underdog Sports LLC, doing business as Underdog Fantasy. I'll be happy to answer any questions you have.
Questions, Commissioner, Ms. Foster? Hearing none, is there a motion on order 2024 through 119? Motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, state aye, please.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Disciplinary actions.
Morning, Commissioners, Executive Staff. You have before you a settlement agreement concerning the disciplinary action against Rush Street Interactive doing business as Bet Rivers. Order 2024-120 is a settlement agreement with Rush Street Interactive where Bet Rivers violated the rules of prohibited participation. January 23rd, 2024, it was determined that an excluded patron had activity on the Bet Rivers platform. A review of the patron's account showed that over the course of 18 days, the patron deposited $3,734.25, wagered $13,659.56, won $11,976.09, and withdrew $2,054.05. Additionally, on February 27th, 2024, properly removed 173 active patrons from the view of the patron's account showed that over the course of 3 days dated February 9th, 2024 through February 12th, 2024, 16 players deposited funds to their account, 18 players placed wagers, and 3 withdrew funds following the exclusion removal. Total amount deposited was $10,564. The total amount wagered was $39,764.75. And the total amount withdrawn was $5,469.51. Settlement agreement outlines Bet Rivers' acknowledgement of its errors and the measures that it had taken to prevent such incident in the future. No longer sending automatic messages to formerly excluded patrons and implementing measures to confirm accuracy of exclusion data. Rush Street Interactive has agreed to a monetary settlement of $54,000. Relevant details of the settlement agreement have been provided to you in your meeting materials. Settlement agreement will also be available on the Commission's website following the meeting. Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Dan Shelton is Director of Sports Wagering, and I want to thank you. Do you have any questions of Mr. Shelton? For a motion on order 2024 through 120.
I'll make the motion. To
Second.
approve. Second.
Second, any discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye, please.
Aye.
And opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And we'll have occupational licenses. Staff Attorney Zach Watson present the matters concerning occupational licenses under orders 2024-121 through 130.
Morning, Commissioners,
Morning.
Executive Staff. Commissioners, before you, you have orders 2024-121 through 124 concerning applications for occupational licenses. These applicants failed to disclose their complete criminal history and or had a felony conviction and therefore failed to meet the established standards for licensure. The applicants were given an opportunity to withdraw their application from consideration, but have failed to do so. Detailed information regarding these orders is contained in your confidential materials. Approving order 2024-121 through 124 would have the effect of denying these applications.
The motion on orders 2024-121 through 124.
I'll make that motion to approve.
Second.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Next, before you have order 2024-125 through 130. These orders concern settlement agreements between Commission staff and occupational licensees. In lieu of disciplinary action, Commission staff offered each of these licensees a settlement agreement that would have them agree to unpaid voluntary relinquishment of their occupational license for a period of working days with no vacation or other paid time off used. Each of these licensees have agreed to the terms of the settlement agreements. Detailed information regarding these matters is contained in your materials. Approving 2024 one 25 through 130 would have the effect of ratifying these agreements with the occupation.
You, is there a motion on orders 125 through 130?
Make the motion to approve.
Motion on the second. Discussion. Questions of Mr. Watson? All those in favor signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Hearing none, the motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now we're going to have a readoption of the rules, and you've already heard a little bit from our director about those rules, and we're actually pretty proud of staff about how it is we've been able to maintain the kind of scrutiny that's necessary from our executive branch and right, the scrutiny of our legislative branch as well. And Attorney Chris Neal, will you might present the resolution 2024?
Chair, if I may.
Yes, please.
To those comments, one thing I forgot to mention that I wanted to. I've celebrated the fact that the governor's office held out our process. Other agencies to adopt as they go through this process.
We've grown to accept nothing less. So congratulations, and we are a model because of your hard work. So continue on, Mr. Neal.
Have before you Resolution 2024-131. Resolution 2024-131 concerns the readoption of administrative rules that are set to expire on January 1st of this coming year. Administrative rules adopted under Indiana Code Chapter 4-22-2 expire on January 1st of the fifth year after the year in which the rule takes effect, unless the rule is readopted. Commission staff has filed the required notices and completed the readoption review, as well as the required public comment period. Accordingly, Resolution 2024-131, if approved, will readopt the sections identified in the notice of intent without any changes or edits. The readopted final rule will then be filed with the Indiana Register. Next, I would like to turn your attention to those resolutions involving the new promulgation of administrative rules. And you have before you resolutions 2024-132, 2024-133, 2024-134. And 2024-135 on fines, fees, and penalties regarding fighting sports, paid fantasy sports, casinos, suppliers, and sports wagering vendors, and charity gaming, respectively. As you know, we have been operating under the safe harbor provision of Indiana Code 4-22-2-19.6 regarding certain fines assessed by the Commission. The rules before you today have all satisfied Indiana's rule promulgation process. Specifically, the following steps have been completed leading up to today, and I know Dennis went over most of them, but I'll repeat here. Before beginning the process, Commission staff reached out to stakeholders for their input. In December of last year, Commission staff brought the rules before the State Budget Committee as required for any rules regarding fines, fees, and civil penalties per Indiana Code 4-22-2-19.6. In March of this year, the Office of Management and Budget approved the Commission staff's request to promulgate each of the rules. On April 3rd, 2024, the Legislative Services Agency posted the first notices of public comment period and the notices of public hearing and the Indiana. Commission staff held the public hearings, responded to any comments received, and some comments have been addressed through certain changes to the initially proposed rule. Public comments are available upon request. Notice of second public comment period and hearing was posted for each rule that received comments per Indiana Code. No comments were received during that second public comment periods or at the second public hearings. Should the rules be approved by the Commission, Commission staff will submit the final rule to the Office of the Indiana Attorney General for approval, and then they'll submit to the Governor's Office for final approval. The final rule will then be submitted to Legislative Services Agency for posting in the Indiana Register. Commission staff has recommended approval of resolutions 2024-132, 2024-133, 2024-134, and 2024-135, which will have the effect of adopting the final rules regarding fines, fees, and penalties for entities regulated by the Commission. I'm happy to answer any questions on that.
Commissioners, any questions? So you've all been provided, obviously, with these rules. Confidential materials. No questions of Mr. Neal. Is there a motion on resolutions 2024-132 through 135?
I'll make a motion to approve.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
A second? Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, same sign. Hearing none, the matter is approved. Thank you so much. Mr. Watson, you again, will you take a look at our casino matters?
Commissioners, before you have order 2024-136 concerning a request received by casino licensee Caesars Entertainment, requesting approval of a proposed financial transaction. In addition to seeking permission to act on the proposed financial transaction, Caesars also requested a waiver of requirement in accordance with the Commission's authority. Right. Confidential details of the proposed financial transactions, as well as the Commission staff's analysis, were provided to the Commissioners in their confidential materials. In accordance with the procedures identified in Resolution 2017-109, Caesars was issued an interim approval of its proposed financial transactions. Interim approval contained the following conditions. First, the terms articulated in the final financial documentation do not materially differ from the terms that were presented in the writing for approval. Second, the terms of the financial documentation do not violate IC 4-33 or 4-35. Third, Caesars must provide the Commission with a legal opinion demonstrating compliance with IC-433 and 435. And finally, Caesars must close on its respective financial transaction by a certain date. Resolution 2017-109 requires that interim financial approval that is issued must be reported to the Commission for consideration and final ratification or other direction.
Thank you. Those preliminary items were presented and we gave our approval. Or with that, is there a motion on order 2024 through 136?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second on the approval. Discussion further? In favor of the motion, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, the motion carries. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now we're going to have our special presentation and looking forward to that. So you want to do the introduction?
I would love to.
Please,
Thank
Mr.
you. Thank you, Chair. Presenting for the Gaming Integrity Division is Investigator Manny Becker. I wanted to highlight for you all commissioners and those watching that Investigator Becker was awarded this year's Award of Excellence by the Indiana Inspector General. During that presentation, Investigator Becker was honored for his effectiveness in conducting complex investigations expeditiously and thoroughly, his ability to build good relationships with stakeholders, and success in efforts that helped bring a multi-million-dollar narcotics trafficking and money laundering organization to justice. This successful case was also showcased by the U.S. Department of Treasury in its 2024 National Money Laundering Risk Assessment. Investigator Becker is often asked to present to various groups, including the Indiana Prosecuting Attorneys Council and at the annual AML-BSA conference in Las Vegas, and he has earned an excellent reputation for expertise in the area of money laundering investigations. His work is key to the mission of the IGC and is a positive reflection of the Commission's dedication to a culture of integrity. Very pleased to have him present to you today, and we've been looking forward to it.
I've had the wonderful opportunity to work with Mr. Cook, and if he gives you that kind of a high sign, it's got to be good. Welcome and good
Now the
morning.
pressure's on to do really well. Good morning, Commissioners and Executive Staff. My name is Manny Becker, and may it please the Commission, I am here today to present on behalf of the Gaming Integrity Division. I want to begin by sharing the mission statement of the Gaming Integrity. Our mission is to proactively work in partnership with casinos to analyze information and, when appropriate, conduct investigations with other initiatives to deter financial crimes and other activities negatively impacting the integrity of gaming industry in Indiana, while ensuring compliance with all federal and state BSA and AML requirements. This presentation is an overview of the organizational structure and key components that uphold gaming integrity in Indiana casinos. We will begin with an organizational chart and provide a brief background of each team member. Other topics will include a brief discussion on federal and state of Indiana regulations that govern gaming operations. And finally, I will present a few case investigation examples. This is the org chart for the Gaming Integrity Division. Mr. Frank Brady is the director of the Gaming Integrity Division. He came to the IGC in its inception in 1994. Prior to the IGC, he worked with the U.S. Department of Treasury for 28 years. His assignments included work in New York, Louisiana, and Indiana. Bill Peebler is an investigator with 27 years of previous law enforcement experience with the Indiana State Police. Upon his retiring from the Indiana State Police, Mr. Peebler continued his commitment to public service, working with Indiana Department of Revenue, and joined the Indiana Gaming Commission in 2005, serving in numerous capacities. Myself, I came to the Indiana Gaming Commission in 2006 and began this career as an IGC enforcement agent and promoted to supervisor for Hollywood and Rising Star Casinos. In 2017, I was chosen to serve as a field investigator for the Southeast area and joined the Gaming Integrity Division in 2021. Prior to this, I was a deputy sheriff at the Jennings County Sheriff's Office. The Gaming Integrity Division is tasked with review of three significant areas: the AML BSA compliance with both federal and state of Indiana laws and regulations, financial fraud, criminal activity, and money laundering activity. Casinos are considered financial institutions and as such must be able to meet all the requirements from FinCEN and the IRS. Part of this is that the casinos are tasked to evaluate the size, location, dollar volume, types of games offered, and complete customer analysis. This evaluation is known as the AML risk assessment. Casino based on their AML risk assessment should create internal controls, policies, and procedures to mitigate the opportunities for money laundering and other financial crimes that can occur in Indiana casinos. EID conducts a yearly audit of these AML programs. The purpose for the review is to identify the AML program's strengths and weaknesses of the internal policies, procedures, and controls. This process facilitates an open dialogue to assure the GID is providing optimal feedback and support with the priority in identifying the norms in the gaming industry. The American Gaming Association is the leading gaming industry resource, provides guidance to the casino industry on how to mitigate bad actors from using casinos as a source to legitimize the source of funds or to spend their proceeds from their illicit activities. The American Gaming Association encourages strong and robust AML programs that meet or exceeds the IRS and FinCEN requirements. They should have a place, they should have a place in these 5 pillars for a successful AML program. Designation of a dedicated compliance officer is a pillar. This should be a person with knowledge of casino reporting requirements and understands the regulations for implementing and enforcing the AML compliance program. Second pillar, written internal policies and procedures and controls. These American Gaming Association, IRS, and FinCEN laws, rules, and guidelines. Policies should be well written so they can be easily implemented and followed. Third pillar, ongoing training for employees. Training should start with employees from day one. The ongoing training will reinforce the importance. Pillar number 4, independent review. Internal audit. Casinos will review the work well along with the scheduled reviews when the new products are brought to market and when deficiencies are identified. The last pillar is customer due diligence. A know your customer program and enhanced due diligence that encourage all available sources to be looked into before making a final assessment. Why is this important? We want to avoid headlines like these. Those do not want to be used as cover for criminal activity. Headlines like these can create a loss in public trust. Prosecutors and law enforcement have told us they do not want to have these types of activities in their jurisdictions. I want to share some examples of criminal investigations that the Gaming Integrity has conducted or assisted with. Investigations allow the Gaming Integrity Division to work closely with state agencies like the Indiana Department of Revenue, local police departments, and sheriff's office, as well as federal agencies like the FBI, IRS, and DEA, and others to identify bad actors that want to use Indiana casinos as a source to conduct criminal activity or launder the proceeds of their criminal activity. There are just a few examples. We have financial fraud, check fraud, identity theft, credit and debit card theft, embezzlement. We had a case involving a residential care unit where a person stole just under $50,000 so they could support their problem gaming. Same thing with family business, embezzlement. A family member who is part of the owners, also without the others knowing, was taking money so they could support their problem gaming. We've also had investigations involving human trafficking and human smuggling, and also tied into illicit massage businesses. Young ladies from other countries and have them work there. We've identified transnational money laundering organizations, Hawala, which is basically a privatized banking system that the certain cultures use as a way to handle their finances so they can send money back home without identifying the money either in the United States or being received in their countries. And then, of course, we have the probably the most well-known is narcotics trafficking, which we have had cases that have involved marijuana, fentanyl, and methamphetamine. And the strongest consideration in all these crimes is that there's always going to be a victim associated to these crimes. Now I want to walk you through a few case investigations that occurred at Indiana casinos. This case, we have a person who brings in over $260,000 in cash, most of the 20s. This cash was brought in gym bags and backpacks, and they go ahead and buy chips like they're going to go play at the table games. They sit there for about 45 minutes and then return to the cage to cash in the chips. But in this case, they ask for a check. Asked for a check to be paid out to another person. So questions were asked. Why would they ask for a check? Are they trying to legitimize their source of funds? The investigation later found that this group was involved in illicit massage businesses and possible nexus to human trafficking. In this next investigation, a patron was observed via surveillance with large cash, again, mostly 20s, totaling over $40,000, had minimal gaming activity, and cashes out more than they brought in. They cashed out, they also requested only $100 bills. This similar activity was documented on 3 different events by the same person. So again, questions arose. Where did the extra chips come from? Was this from previous play? Well, our law enforcement friends with the DEA and other law enforcement agencies tell us that chips are known source of drug trafficking currency because they can cash just by showing up at the casino. When completing a review of this information, it was discovered this person provided different identifying information during the 3 events. Last one is a record search of sports wagering transactions by Mr. DC found numerous sports wagering transactions totaling just over $2.7 million at several Southern Indiana casinos. The sports wagers ranged from in amounts of a few $100s to $160,000 in cash. Hence, due diligence was applied here. They asked for tax records. Provided tax records that indicated that he had $34,000 in sales from a small business. However, his first wager was $94,000. He lost that one. Came back 3 days later with $135,000. Investigation by local and federal law enforcement found that Mr. DC was involved in drug trafficking activity. He was later convicted for drug trafficking and money laundering by the IRS. He was sentenced to 7 years and 9 months. For that one, back in 2015 and 2016, a gentleman by the name of Mr. DW spent over $4.2 million, of which $3.5 million was spent in cash casino purchases. Again, this person was found to be involved in drug activity. Mr. DW was later convicted for drug trafficking and money laundering and sentenced to 34 years. The ultimate investigative goal of these comprehensive, integrated, and parallel financial investigations is to gather all applicable information and present potential criminal activity cases to local prosecutors, law enforcement agencies, and federal authorities for criminal prosecution or to assist those entities with their own investigations. In this endeavor, creating working relationships with the Indiana County prosecutors, local law enforcement, state and federal agencies. Gaming Integrity Division also works with the IGC enforcement agents and investigators with comprehensive criminal investigations of major violators or investigations involving several properties and assisting as a liaison with federal and state agencies. In conclusion, Gaming Integrity is committed to protecting Indiana casinos, the communities where they operate, and the public from bad actors and their criminal activities by working in partnership with casinos and together gain knowledge, explore new technologies, and promote continuous improvement to promote confidence and trust with gaming industry in Indiana. Thank you for your time, and I appreciate the opportunity to present the Gaming Integrity Division.
Becker, thank you so much for the presentation. It's eye-opening. But it's you and your work and your staff's work, which allows me to rely upon our staff recommendations and how it is we operate in terms of our fiduciary responsibility. I asked them the first day I stepped in the room with them, I said, I don't want to read those newspaper headlines, and not on our watch. I want to know that they're exposed, and we want to know the information before that. Isn't that true? That's exactly what I asked, and thank you for your work. Commissioners, any other questions? This is eye-opening stuff, right? Fire away.
I have a question, and thank you again for your services and identifying these issues. I have a question on when you identify a problem like this where people are obviously laundering money. Run me briefly through the processes where you or the commission contacts law enforcement.
First, we start out with our due diligence and trying to figure out if we have to even contact law enforcement. We try to find out if this person has the means to have this kind of gaming activity. It's only when we've actually come to the conclusion or pretty much a reasonable conclusion that this person probably doesn't have those kind of means for that kind of wagering activity, then we may make open source investigation. You know, we may look at, you know, where they have worked, things like that. We may even contact local law enforcement and say, hey, what do you know about Manny Becker? Is he a guy, you know, and sometimes, honestly, they'll say, oh, you mean the guy that picks up, used stoves and water heaters on the side of the road? And I'm going, well, the guy that's picking up these water heaters just played $30,000 this weekend on the football. So we start looking at things like that. And then once we start working with our law enforcement partners, whether it's depending on how we see things, we may reach out to just the IRS. We may reach out to DEA if the person has known previous drug activity, things like that. Then we just kind of work together as a group, and then we determine what investigative avenues need to be followed. Hope I answered your question.
Any questions, commissioners? Becker, you know, integrity is easy to say, not always so easy to.
Yes, sir.
And thank you very much for your work again.
Thank you very much for the time and opportunity.
Commissioners, anything else on our agenda today? We've already dispensed with all the new business. Mr. Director, Mr. Deputy Director, anything else that you have on your agenda? Then we're going to, at 11:50, declare this meeting adjourned, and we'll reconvene on the 19th of December. My goodness, we're already talking December calendar. That's a little nervy. This meeting is adjourned.